Hey everyone, welcome back. So today we're diving straight into a truly fascinating explainer. We're going to be unpacking this highly unique modern utopian text. It's basically a blueprint of deeply specific civil behaviors and codes written for a group known as the Yuan Celestials. If you've ever wondered, how alternative communities actually structure their daily lives to balance just regular mundane chores with these massive spiritual ambitions, well, this is absolutely the text to study. We're going to break down this entire blueprint and see exactly how this group designs their ideal society.
What's honestly so fascinating right off the bat is how this text frames, well, literally everything we're about to discuss. The very last line of their behavioral code says, "Proceed as if in a game." I mean, just keep that in the back of your mind as we go. It completely reframes our daily existence, right? Suddenly, your chores, your social interactions, all these strict rules, they aren't just heavy burdens anymore. They're actually moves on a cosmic game board. And playing this game correctly, that is exactly how they believe you achieve spiritual success.
Okay, before we get into the nitty-gritty of the rules, let's just quickly ground ourselves in the terminology here. A Yuan Celestial, that's simply an individual who actively practices this philosophy. And the New Oasis for Life, which, by the way, used to be called the Second Home, is their collective physical community. So, we're not just talking about some theoretical abstract philosophy here. These are the actual, on-the-ground house rules for real people living together in an intentional community.
So, to understand how they live, we first have to look at what they believe. Pillar 1. A syncretic spiritual foundation.
This setup is just brilliant for understanding their entire worldview. You'll notice this community absolutely does not limit itself to just one single religious tradition. Instead, they've created this incredibly neutral, harmonized blend of major global philosophies. It's almost like a spiritual supergroup. They bear the teachings of Jesus in mind, they adhere very closely to the instructions of Buddha, they literally use Lao Tzu's words as their code of behavior, and they look to the sages for their daily mottos. And all of these figures are respected under the supreme reverence of what they call the greatest creator. It's just a fascinating, highly structured spiritual synthesis.
All right, moving from the spiritual down to the very practical, we arrive at Pillar 2, daily habits and personal purity.
Let's zoom in on the individual for a second. In the New Oasis for Life, true spiritual cultivation doesn't just happen in a temple. It starts with incredibly mundane, everyday habits. A Yuan Celestial is expected to practice extreme economy in literally everything. I mean, they are taught to value the labor involved in just a single inch of silk. Keeping your living space perfectly clean, striving for absolute perfection in your daily work, and studying every single day to remove doubts, these aren't just, good habits to them. They are absolutely vital steps in cleansing the soul. Thriftiness and hard work are literally elevated to a core spiritual practice.
The really crucial point here is understanding the stark contrast they expect in daily life. Pure behaviors, things like working hard, keeping a clean mind, self-reflection, these are pitted directly against harmful behaviors. And they don't mince words. The text explicitly warns against gossiping, probing into people's privacies, scheming, and envying others. In fact, they believe that harboring laziness or envying someone else will literally invite disaster upon you. To have a pure mind, you have to completely eliminate all those worldly distractions and petty jealousies. Now, let's expand our focus just a bit from the individual out to their immediate physical environment. This brings us to Pillar 3, harmony with the natural world.
Let's see how this builds into a much broader ethical framework. Their relationship with nature goes way, way beyond your basic environmentalism. Sure, they're instructed to protect flowers and birds and to completely avoid eating any wildlife. But check out this specific instruction: refrain from meat to protect character. So their diet isn't just about physical health, it's explicitly, directly tied to maintaining the purity of their soul and avoiding harm to their character. They're literally taught to view grass and wood as relatives and to treat even insects as lifelong companions. Nature isn't just a resource here, it is quite literally considered family.
Zooming out even further now, how do these individuals interact with each other and the outside world? Well, that is perfectly covered in Pillar 4, rules for community living.
I really want to highlight this one specific, fiercely protective stance within the text. It states directly, and I quote, "Women are respected. Riding roughshod over women is not allowed in the home." When building this utopian community, establishing these super clear boundaries for respect and gender equality inside the New Oasis for Life, it's not a suggestion. It's treated as a foundational, totally non-negotiable law.
And that deep respect extends outward in some really specific ways. Their social rules basically paint a picture of a very quiet, fiercely polite society. You know the drill. Respect the elderly, love the young, always show comedy to your neighbors, and please
don't make noise in the dead of night. But pay special attention to their stance on external compliance. Even though they are building this alternative utopian lifestyle, they are strictly instructed not to violate government statutes. They are told to avoid being careerists or having any political ambitions whatsoever. They essentially just want to be left alone to cultivate their spiritual lives. So strict obedience to external, real-world laws is highly prioritized just to maintain their peace.
Of course, let's be real, anytime people live together in a group, conflict is completely inevitable, right? So how do they handle it? Well, they use this brilliant, entirely ego-free three-step mechanism for resolving internal community drama. Step 1, look into your own conscience. Step 2, do not shift blame onto others. And Step 3, find out where you have gone wrong. It's kind of wild, but their default mandatory response to literally any interpersonal friction is to immediately turn the blame inward.
And why is that intense internal conflict resolution so incredibly important to them? Well, because factions are strictly banned. Period. To maintain a harmonious collective, they firmly believe people must be treated equally no matter where they come from. And cliques absolutely cannot be allowed to form. Unity is paramount here. Any kind of division is seen as a direct existential threat to their spiritual oasis.
Finally, let's zoom all the way out to the universal scale to see how this all connects. Pillar 5, the ultimate cosmic goal. This cosmic goal really connects all the dots for us. All of this crazy daily diligence we've talked about, the quietness, the deep respect, the perfectly clean living space, the careful use of every single inch of silk, it all culminates right here. The whole shebang is designed to honor the supreme greatest creator of the vast and boundless universe. By making confessions, constantly cleaning the soul, and following this highly specific guide to the letter, they believe the road ahead will be bright and their ultimate cultivation will succeed. It's fascinating how the most mundane daily tasks are directly, inextricably linked to the cosmic.
Which actually brings us right back to where we started. I want to leave you with this final thought today. If only life is true and we should proceed as if in a game, how might adopting that exact mindset alter your own daily reality? Even if you don't live in the new oasis for life, just imagine treating your absolute most boring chores or maybe your most frustrating interpersonal conflicts as vital, ego-free moves in a grand spiritual game. How would that change your tomorrow? Think on it and let that perspective really sink in. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.